Going live. Let's see how long it takes me to crash this thing.
Okay, I shall put the audio on in... Do you want me to go straight from when we hit record, yeah?
Yeah, go. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, you hit your audio up, and we'll see what people think. Let's see if this stream is derped or not, or what's happening with it, or how bad I've messed up or not messed up, or...
Well, this bit we can take away from the recording anyway when you do the editing of the audio. To go on to SoundCloud and iTunes and Google's
and all the other McGubbins.
We're just waiting for the advert to come roaring by.
Roaring in and roaring by, and thank you very much. And if it doesn't work out, that's fine, because people can tell us if it's acting funny or weird or something like that. Please.
We're live. We are live.
We are live. Let me know if this lags. We've got a new program running, so I don't quite know if this is working yet or not.
There is a little bit of lag.
A little bit of lag?
Little bit.
How much of a little bit?
Well, it seems to be working now rather than actually, because I can see the sparkles and sprinkles of the stars moving around.
Good.
I can see you moving.
I can see me moving.
So I might as well start with episode 15, really, haven't we?
Yeah, do it up. Hit it up.
As you can see, my ugly mug is back here on your screen, so must be the episode 15 of the Game Won't Play Itself podcast. I'm Will McKellar, and I'm back from EGX. And back with me, rather than, kicking me out, locking the doors and saying don't come back, is James Atkinson.
Hi, everybody. I decided to let him back in.
So how was your week?
What didn't I do with my week? You were gone, and I did a lot of spring cleaning. I did.
I saw you did a lot of stuff. I saw some big news we have.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened. I got industrious, that was for sure. I think that's the best way to put it. Is I got a little industrious, got a little kind of up and rolling, and bang. Now we're here. And things look a little bit different too. Hopefully everybody notices that.
Yeah, everything is nice and shiny and great, and we could also do the other big news, can't we?
Yeah. So do it on up.
Well, if you don't want to see us here live or on YouTube, you can now go and listen to us while you're on the move on SoundCloud, on iTunes, and in the States at least. Google Music Play now has The Game Won't Play Itself in a podcast form for you guys. That's exciting news. I love that news. So, now gives you more formats, more options, more avenues to hear us, to listen to us, to interact with us.
Yeah.
But, what else is coming up on tonight's show? Well, we got more news. We got what we've been playing, and shout-outs, and possibly talk a little bit about Extra Life, because that's coming up really, really quick.
It is, and hopefully everybody is okay with me. You'll see me staring off into space a little bit. Like I said, this is a new program. There are some tweaks going on, so hopefully everybody's okay with that. But
staring off like that, guy.
But don't worry, Will's going to tell us, probably recap for us where he spent his weekend, which is going to give me some time to work out some technical difficulties, isn't it, Will?
Oh, yeah, you see, that's the way to pad it, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
the best way to pad it. So do you want me to go on with shall we start then with what we've been playing and leave news to sort of chop down the middle of the shout-outs and stuff?
Yeah, leave them guessing to the end.
Okay, let's do what we've been playing, and I might as well go first. Really,
that works for me.
I bet it does. Right, I'm gonna pause before we go to EGX. All right, I'm gonna get the other stuff out the way first. Like Zen Pinball 2 this week had 2 new tables, and so part of my rules was if the new tables came out for pinball, I'd play them on the stream. And they were both the Women of Power Pack. One's called A-Force, which I laughed my ass off at when I heard it. It went, that sounds rude. The other one is Champions. They're not bad tables. I'm gonna have to work at them because I just didn't seem to get going on either one of them. Even though the champion seems more flowing, there seems a bigger option for scores. So yeah, so we've got those. So they might come into force again during Extra Life. We don't know. I've been playing more of Mirror's Edge Catalyst and trying to get through the story of that rather than going through like the little small challenges, because you get things like fragile packages, which does lead with the line, "I'm not touching your fragile package." You know, it's childish, but I don't care. You know, it makes me giggle during the stream when I'm supposed to be like being semi-professional. But I did have a troll on the stream this week. He came in and he said, "You're not very good at this, are you?" It's like, I know this. What are you telling me that's different, you know? Yeah, no. So he just sort of collapsed like a flan in the cupboard. And of course, the Sunday service that I was before I went to EGX, played more Doom. And that's still satisfyingly fun with the amount of violence you can do. I got the BFG. I now have the BFG, and how easily that clears a room. It's like you pick it up, you get it after you work out this little chamber you have to get into, and you fall down and everywhere explodes except for that part near you, and you go, okay, oh, there's a gun here. What? Oh, it's the BFG. Oh, I like this. So you get to test it as games would normally allow you to do. And you just walk into another room, you just point it, charge it, go, and it just fires. And just, yeah, you just have this satisfactory look on your face of, I will do well with this gun. And then you enter another area, just die quickly. That makes you look embarrassed. But then I went off to EGX for about 4 days and just prattled about under your orders. Hello, Starblazer UK. That is Gina's other half. Hello, sir. How are you? But yeah, so we went to EGX. And I was under strict orders from you to go out and enjoy it.
Yes, that's right. I did give you the explicit written orders of don't do anything for the podcast unless you take a picture and put it up on Instagram. Besides from that, don't do anything for us. Yeah.
And I mostly stuck to that.
Good.
I say mostly. Because there was one instance for Lost Castle, which is... It's like Castle Crashers and a bit of Diablo mixed in. Where we played 2 players on there, and it's like a dungeon crawl as well, pretty much. So so you get these bits, and you're smashing furniture up, you're trying to get power ups, you're trying to get little silly bits, and it seems like it's going to be a very good, fun, cooperative game. Not going to take itself seriously. Yes, she did tell us. And yet, so they basically wanted our Twitch accounts. And they wanted to send us codes because this game is big in China.
Right.
And you've got a load of streamers there just streaming it away quite nicely in there. So, yeah, they've wanted people in the UK to start, doing an expansion for it.
Talking about it, so going over with everything?
Yeah, talking about it, streaming it over here, try and get more people watching it, and then getting involved and wanting to play it. So, yeah, I bought the game. In fact, they gave us a couple of codes, so... between us and Battle Cattle, we're going to try and do something with them to try and stream it. And maybe when I get off my arse and set up for the PC streaming, I can do that as well.
We're going to talk about that afterwards because I can get you set up in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So I can look at that and maybe try do little bits, see how well I can actually do that. So played Dishonored 2. Which was one of the bigger AAA games that was there, because there wasn't a great deal of them there this year. It was mainly indies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Dishonored 2, so you get a choice of 2 characters. And, Corvo being one of them who returns from the first game. But I didn't choose him. I chose the female lead this time because they went to us when we was in the queue. Okay, if you've already played this before, we can either sit, we can go. Okay, you try the female character, or you can go back to Corvo if you prefer. If you haven't played it before, Corvo's a better one. So rolled myself thinking, yeah, we've already played it. I chose the female lead, and the mission we was in has two bits you can do. There's a rescue mission part to it, and also an assassination. Now, I got the guy rescued. I just couldn't get him out there before the time ran out of the demo. So I took him up where the person was I had to assassinate. So I'm just carrying him on my shoulder. And it's like you get to this bit where and the demo ended where I managed to assassinate the target.
Right.
And I'm right at the point because they come up with, time. You get a time limit. And it's just like, oh, can you give me 5 more minutes to just finish this fight, you bastards? But no, they didn't want to. At all. Shit. Yeah, but Punisher, I never played that, so we'll have to ask you about that in a bit. But I also played a game called Little Nightmares, and it has the similar sort of menace that exudes from Unravel. It is a platformer. It looks more like a Limbo. Were inside in terms of that sort of style of level, not quite as dark in terms of graphics, because you're on this boat and you play a little girl, and it's very sort of kids nightmarish thing, and you have to try and escape this this cook, this butcher almost type of thing. And if you get caught, then it is death.
Okay.
But you don't see the death, and it is really creepy but really good. And the puzzles in there are quite crafty, so you really have to think about what you're doing with it. But it's not to the point where you're going to put the controller down and go, oh, "Fuck this," So it's one thing.
It's not a take one of these and throw it through a wall. Yeah,
no, it's not quite that bad. I played of it. I'm hoping that the puzzles stay fiendish on there, because that was one of the big things about Unravel was it just became hollow. The story just wasn't there. At the end of it, it's just so I'm hoping with this it does manage to keep the momentum going throughout the game for it, because it looks and plays really good.
So it keeps the momentum, keeps your interest as you go through it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, one of the other big games that are there is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah, it's right, open world. You think, great, they would give you a bit of a playground to have a go at, just to get your teeth into and explore. We had they took you in groups of 30.
All right.
And you sat down and saw this built up theatre cinema screen bit, and they took you through the demo that you already saw at E3.
Right.
They then showed you a bit of that demo played. Okay, and then they took you into like the cubicle area where the pods were, and they split you up into groups of 2. So you had 15 minutes before you changed over to the person you were with. Okay. And you know that little sort of spidery crab thing with the circular shell on it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that kind of weird circular shell, spidery crab, spindly leg robot of death.
Yeah. We had to sort of crouch and wait and then just pick it off to get the actual bit off of its back before making a pop. So literally that was the area we got to play in. So we got to play there, and it was a very small area, and they really, really didn't like you going anywhere you didn't want to. It was just it felt very, very restricted. To try and see how well we wanted to play this and how well you wanted it. So that was disappointing. It plays well though, and the elements of Far Cry in there for actually wanting to be a botanist, not a bottomist. You don't want to be a bottom, but a botanist is just so things like flowers and all the hunting. So there is big elements of hunting on there. So hopefully it's gonna you're gonna see a lot more soon. Let's see what else we played. There is a game called Super Dungeon Brothers.
Okay.
Now, this, again, like a Diablo, a bit like Castle Crashers, you get to play 4 players running around dungeon crawling. You can get to pick each other up and chuck each other over like ravines. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go for a chest that's quite out, not quite in reach, you go, which I did to Gina. It's like, because I heard the guy say, "Oh, you can pick each other up." It's like, really? Gina, go. Of course, I missed direction on the first time. She went down into the ravine and died. But whoops.
Not your fault. Gravity's a bitch.
Yeah, it's a real bitch. But yeah, it looks a lot of fun. It's quite cartoony. The humor is quite silly, but it's again something that I'm looking forward to. We met up with a lot of battle cattle as well, because a lot of battle cattle people were there, which I'll do the shout outs later on. And we played a ton of Tekken 7. And I mean a ton of Tekken 7. We had like a little mini tournament. And it was quite back and forth between the people. Ara stepped on and then started winning. She went through all of them up until she got to me. And then I won. And it's like, I went on the run then. It's like, through almost everyone apart from Rob. Rob came back and kicked my ass because earlier in the morning, me and Rob had a best of 3. But
you're brothers. That's the thing. How many fighting games did you play against each other growing up as kids?
A few.
A few?
Things like Body Blows, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat 2,
And did he usually get the best of you?
Yeah, because he's a lot better at them than me.
He's got that twitch reflex?
Yeah. He really does. He has this keen ability to kick the shit out of me.
It's the older brother complex. That's what it is. As somebody who is an older brother, yeah, it's the older brother complex. It's just no matter how anything goes, what happens, the older brother will always beat the crap out of the younger brother.
No one cares. Screen of shame.
By the way, if you subscribe to our Patreon, the first thing I will buy with it is a chroma key screen.
Yes, this is a good
his
hint.
girlfriend can sleep.
There you go. So, help us help you. Help me go down to their local the local fabric store and spend like $5 on a large piece of fabric to hang behind me. Anyways, Will, you were saying
you could also buy a VR unit, because I tried one. I tried the Sony VR. The game I tried was London Heist, and the bit they tried this on was the Getaway.
Thank you for comments from the Peanut Gallery.
What?
We'll continue. I'm going to mute my mic.
Okay. So the London Heist, you're stealing a Russian diamond, and so you get the scenario sets you up where you have to just basically get out of there. So you're looking around. You're thinking this is quite good. Like you could actually do the normal mundane stuff like twiddling knobs and stuff on your radio, and then you hear from the driver, you better start packing the piece because they're coming at us and we need to get away from here. So he basically unzips a bag that he puts in the middle where the center console is. There's an Uzi in there, so you pick the Uzi up using your move controllers, because they've come back, and you can flick it between cells, which is what I kept doing. When you run out of bullets, you have to change your magazine, pick down to there, clip up to get into the bits, and away you go again. It's quite intuitive and quite fun. I didn't notice the actual biker that was slammed against the windscreen, which is probably there to shit you up, because I was too busy looking at the gun and going, oh, this looks quite nice, really. What I will say about VR is you have to adjust it to your, especially with me, because one of my eyes is really batty and just all off the place, and you've got, with the way my eyes are, you have to adjust for each lens, so it can get a bit tricky for that. But it's still making me curious to want to play it more.
See, I have no want for VR. None at all.
I didn't at first until I tried it, and that's when I started to want it. I did want to try what's the game now? Racing game, Drive Club. There we go. I wanted to try Drive Club on it, but I couldn't get the option to, unfortunately. So we'd have to see how good that is, because anything else, quite nice. Next, I played Smash Up, not the board game. They're bringing it to PC and hopefully to console. And if you've never played Smash Up, you can do things like Zombie Aliens as two groups that you mash up together and try and beat your opponents with by going onto like these little bases that you play, and you've got to load the bases up with a certain amount of points. You get the points, whoever has the most points, scores first, and then goes down the line like second, third, and fourth. And it's a good game to Smash Up. It's very enjoyable. Normally, you can really fuck over your mates if you know what you're doing on there, and so they're bringing it quite dedicatedly to the PC. It's something that we should be able to try. Maybe set up like he really did. Yes, stream. Is that stream?
It did.
Still, like it's still done.
Because people decided to use the internet. They're streaming apparently music out front, so I'm kind of getting it. But we should be coming back soon.
Because there's exit host mode. So yeah, we'll cut this bit out. We'll
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, fixing.
Fixing it in post. This is why it's live.
I also played a game that you might be interested in called Mantis Racing. It's kind of like a top-down Micro Machines. Plays a bit like Micro Machines. They were doing like a little sort of tournament bit on there. Didn't beat the tournament, but at least, had a good score on it and got first. Got someone in Russian, looks like. Also, we went to, because we didn't play a huge amount of games this year.
Right.
Because it was more down to the people we were with and hanging out with them, and just basically talking, see who we could see more than anything else. Because again, it didn't feel like a normal EGX. It felt smaller, even though there was probably more there. We played a lot of Street Fighter. We went into the retro zone and played some of that and had tournaments and backwards and forwards, and we found out that Carl is a beast while playing these games because he didn't lose at all on them. So him and Rob going at it would be like a mega event, like DC and Marvel just clashing again. Also played Bomberman. You remember Bomberman? I'm sure you played Bomberman before.
No.
You've never played Bomberman?
I mean, I know of Bomberman. You put bombs down, they blow up in different directions. I've played plenty of Zelda games that have had that thing, but the OG Bomberman, no, have not played it at all.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. You need to play Bomberman.
Not even Bomberman 64. Didn't even play that.
For the purpose of the audio version of this, that's me just sitting there, open mouth, going, "What?" You need to rectify that, man. You need to rectify that really quickly. Do it tonight.
You find a completely legitimate and legal copy of it online through a certain place and watch it.
Yeah, you could do that. If you really want. But that's kind of all I remember playing at EGX. I believe there might have been a couple of bits more, but I'm like, oh, there is one. I forgot. How can I forget this? Gran Turismo Sports. How could I forget that? There's also... So I'll get to the other two because I've just literally remembered those because I sort of went from GT to these two. But GT Sport looks crisp, looks very nice. Played at Brands Hatch and like a free lap bit on there. It feels responsive, especially when you're doing the steering wheel, because again, with the steering wheels in racing carrots, you do have to really sort of go around and twist the wheel to get around the corners. Looking forward to that when it eventually comes out at some point next year. But it's more Gran Turismo. You know, the AI looks better though. It looks like it actually behaves a bit better than it normally does. Played World Rally Championship 2016. That's tough as nails. That is tough as nails. I mean, I think that's worse than Dirt Rally that came out earlier this year. That's how bad it felt. And finally, I played this game called Vector, which is rhythm game.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling down this little sort of tunnel at first of all, you know, doing the responses. You go, you know, X, square, square, left, square, to try and build up this pattern bit and this musical sort of rhythm. And then at times it all bursts away, and you have to fly through circles and stuff to keep it going. And it gets quite hectic the further you go, and how well you do it. Which is it also reminds me a bit of Amplitude.
Okay, yeah, I played Amplitude. I remember getting the PlayStation magazine and getting the PlayStation 2 demo discs and having Amplitude in it.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Yeah, see, Mono. Never played Bomberman Unfollowed. But yeah, so that's pretty much the games that I remember playing from EGX. As I say, it was more to do this year with just basically hanging out with people, rather than, you know, trying to get numbers, trying to get addresses, trying to get people to go, "Oi, join us!" You know, let us cover your stuff in our goo of gaming goo.
That was my job this week.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll get to the people during the shout outs because there was a few. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. What have you been playing while I've been away doing this sort of stuff, mate?
I've been playing back-end podcast host.
Oh.
That's what I've been playing. I've been playing Destiny. I've picked it up with a couple of friends now, so we actually have people to play with, which is fun. So we're kicking up some Rise of Iron. I'm actually gonna be playing it after. Maybe not tonight, maybe a little bit tomorrow, but definitely this weekend at some point. Also been playing some more World of Warcraft. Those are kind of my staple too. I also picked up and have beaten through the journey of FIFA 17, which is their whole new kind of introductory thing. You know, like how NBA and a lot of them are doing those kind of like, this is your player, run through the career of this person. Yeah. I have to say it's really interesting and really well done. The journey, I mean, you follow this, your avatar, his name's Alex Hunter, he's an actual guy, everything's completely and totally acted out. And you choose a Premier League club, and then it's kind of your kind of first season in that club as like a young and up-and-coming player. Now you're able to choose one of 4 positions. They either let you do striker, either one of the wingers, or an attacking midfielder. I guess they decided the first year to do it, and playing like a center back or a defensive position may not be the funnest thing to play in the game. But you're given individual goals, and you play through a pre-season, and then kind of like you kind of hit the end of it, and it ends after one season. But as like a tutorial and introductory to the game and getting used to kind of playing it, it's really kind of nice, and it's very well done and well polished. I kind of like having these story modes kind of being put into a lot of these games, because it gives you some emotional investment into it, and it lets you kind of, you know, it's also for somebody who's new to the series, gets you up to speed on the game mechanics and everything a lot quicker. So I played through that, beaten that, and now I'm just kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of the game itself to see if there has been any improvements over 16.
Well, Punisher might be one of the people to tell you about that because I know he's been playing FIFA a lot of late as well.
Maybe. Yeah, if he wants to talk to me about it, sure. I mean, I obviously always put up my PSN, so if you're on PlayStation, you can play with me, but the thing is, too, is that, like, I look at a lot of those games, like those Maddens, and they have this whole online aspect, and that has no interest to me.
Because you'll only have, like, 2 teams against each other, Chelsea and Real Madrid. That seems to be the only thing that people just seem to want to play.
And I also don't want to put my disposable income into buying fictional cards that may or may not that I have to, like, use and then get rid of after, like, 4 games.
Yeah, because that's pointless.
I mean, the style of play that I actually enjoy the most, and it was a style that was developed by this guy, a YouTuber named Cutsy. It's called U Squad Legends. You are basically take a team, any team. Normally it's a League 2 team. You get rid of all the actual players and you get all of the regular gens, and you get like regen players. And then what you do with them is you basically build them up and then work your way up from League 2 all the way to being a championship level team.
Yeah.
So
would this be sort of incorporated with after the tutorial then, or is it more sort of
it's what you can do after the tutorial. It's like any normal career mode. You get to choose obviously from any team in the world. I tend to do the BPL or the British leagues just because there's more leagues to go through, because you've got the 2-1 Championship Premier, and then obviously then you need to try and work your way into Europa League, and then obviously then Championship.
Yeah.
But you can do it with any team. And it's just kind of like you sell off all your pro players in the first 2 years. You kind of get like all these randomly generated players, and you just kind of use this group of like ragtag players and try and work your way up and up. And it's really interesting because you have to think a lot more tactically, but also you're getting away from like, I'm not going to spend £75,000 on Paul Pogba. I'm going to spend like $2 on this random 15-year-old and just build him up over years, and then have him have like this, he is my Ronaldo or my thing. You can send him through all of their training and stuff. So I find that to be the most interesting, rather than just like taking Chelsea or Real Madrid or Manchester United or Barcelona and just being like, I'm gonna buy all the best players in the look at my team. My starting 11 is like, I've got Lionel Messi, I've got Ronaldo, I've got Bale, I've got all the best players on in the world on one team, and I'm just steamrolling every competition.
That's good though. I mean, at least if you're having a challenge, at least, rather than just constant like 6-0 wins. At least it gives you something to to really strive and work for, rather than just getting bored of it. The same thing, Right,
and it's also nice about having a League 2 side beating Chelsea in the British Premier League final. Be like, yeah, that was Leyton Orient. Yeah, they were in League 2. Now they're beating Chelsea. What now?
Yeah, it's not the giant.
They're the other London club.
they're the ones that are in like little tiny suburbs of London that just go, yeah, where was I in?
It's exactly. It's like watching any Premier League team go to Bournemouth right now. It's just like, are we really playing here? There's like 10 rows of seats.
So is that all you've been playing this week?
Yeah, besides from uploading everything to SoundClouds and like getting the podcast tied to everything. And yeah, see, Punisher, that's the exact thing. I don't want to spend £60 on packs. I just don't want to do it, and because I will. I know I will. So I'm just not going to do it.
Why? It's money pit.
I play World of Warcraft, so I can't really talk about throwing money down a hole. But I just don't want to deal with it. It sounds fun, but also too, I'm not that good at the game. I know where my skill level is. I'm a semi-pro player. That's it. That's my plateau. I've hit it. I don't want to put any more time or effort into learning this game because I'm happy with it. I'm happy with what I know how to do, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't need to go online to have some 13-year-old just beat the crap out of me.
Yes, so Star Wars: The Old Republic. Yeah, fair enough. Fair play.
That's the thing. Like, anybody here, I bet you any one of you here in chat has done this, has spent £60 or $60 on something, and you would do it again because it's the way of the world. Heck, look at GTA 5. I saw a great chart just a few weeks ago that showed like Rockstar has released a game once a year, every year, up until GTA 5, and then they realized microtransactions happened, and they haven't released anything since then.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Red Dead Redemption 2. Which hopefully is on its way soon. But yeah, I'm just trying to think if I've done anything in that response, in that sort of regard. I mean, the only sort of thing I could come close to is Drive Club stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've done at least since we've done podcasting. You've I remember you were like, I bought this Drive Club this and Drive Club that and Drive Club this. And we're just going how much are these DLC car club packs?
Actually, surprisingly cheap. Only about a couple of quid normally.
Yeah, but so are the packs. A couple of quid, but a couple of quid adds up over time. Next thing you know, you're sitting there just going I spent how much? You get your bill.
Yeah, and then you sort of cringe. You go, ooh, ooh, ooh. So yeah, if that's everything you've played, shall we go on to the news? Shall we do news stuff?
Yeah, let's do news stuff.
I'll let you take the first one because this was one you kind of brought up to me. I knew about, but I'll let you take it.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's right. There's a podcast flow, right, Will? I'm supposed to be looking at that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you've joined us today on the Twitch and in the stream, or if you're listening to this show, we are actually recording this on International Podcast Day. So congratulations. Thank you for being a part of International Podcast Day. This is where I guess we want you to kind of get out there, tell us about, or tell your friends about either your favorite podcast or any other podcast. But this is kind of the time, I guess, the day of the year where it's podcast awareness time. And we totally didn't just come upon this an hour before we started this thing.
Well, you heard about it really today. I kind of heard about it yesterday because Joel from Abandoned Gamers podcast, he wrote a blog talking about today. So I kind of knew, a little bit, and I did want to touch a little bit on there because it's great way to share and make aware of your favorite podcasts and try and get other people listening to it and make it a bigger community sort of thing. Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I'm a big podcast listener. It's actually how I spend most of my time driving to and from work, because I don't like listening to American radio. So you guys can understand why for that. But my favorite one is it's called RPPR, Role Playing Public Radio, and they are people who do actual play podcasts of various types of role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, but then also tons of indie titles. So that is kind of my go-to, especially because they have they'll do news, they've done development on games that they've actually written, because these guys have written.
Yeah.
And, so that's my favorite, besides from the one that I currently co-host every Friday night.
Yeah, that little well-known one. Would say unknown, but we're getting a cult following now. It's growing. I mean, the ones I listen to.
Donnie Darko cult following status, or are we talking Blair Witch Project, the Alpha, following status?
We'll go Blair Witch because it's a bit freaky.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because the podcasts I normally listen to, I try to, I've sort of kind of fallen off the wagon a bit with it. But I used to listen to things like The Same Coin. Really, really, really sick and toilet humor in it, but so funny. You got Toku podcast, which is like Kate Gray and Holly Nielsen talking about games and women's problems to help help other women out and help guys out understand more, sort of thing. And also cakes. They like cakes, so they talked about them. You got things like PS Nation podcast, which really helped reignite my passion for doing this sort of stuff. Primarily just PlayStation, but they did talk about other things because they do have Xboxes. They did have other consoles like the Wii and Wii U. Then you got a Band of Gamers podcast, which is a mixture of gaming and music, mainly for local independent bands to try and help spread the love for them. And then you've got other ones like Explosive Alan, which is where I kind of met Chris Light because of them. And you've got one called Game Friends, which he went on to do. So yeah, if you have a chance, if you do have other podcasts that you listen to, just put them out on our Twitter page. Just say something like that. Tag their International Podcast Day, because there are some really, really good podcasts out there.
Tag them out.
I mean, let's have a look at the chat. We got Starblazer UK. Only podcasts I normally listen to are Sonic State, which is mainly music synthesizer pro audio podcasts. In fact, that is probably the first live gaming podcast he's checked out, which is cool. Thank you very much. And the Mr. Smith said the only other podcast he watches regularly is Going in Raw podcast, which I've never heard of that one.
Is this like tied to Lard in the Raw?
It might be. It might be.
Which was the tentative name to this the episode of this podcast, but we got there with something else.
Yeah. And speaking of something else, No Man's Sky is under investigation again by the Advertising Standards Agency or Authority, because of it said the watchdog launched its investigation after receiving several complaints about No Man's Sky's advertising. A representative told them it's basically to do with its online advertising. The investigation revolves around No Man's Sky's Steam store page, which includes assets some believe misrepresents the controversial space game. It's basically more of the stuff that it said is going to be in the game that isn't. And so they're now under a full official investigation about it. They did say, though, that if the bit's upheld, they have to take I think they have to take the advertising boards and that down, because I don't see there's going to be any fines or anything like that. But it is interesting to note that people are actually starting to pay attention to, what people are saying, what is actually happening. So, yeah. It's a wrestling podcast Mr. Smith is listening to, the Going in Raw, which will be based on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, so No Man's Sky coming at it again because of pretty much their bad PR, I'd guess. That's what it got to come down to, basically. Just, over-promising, underachieving. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to describe No Man's Sky to me is that it is a game that was, if it didn't have any of the hype, would have been a super okay title, and that they would have been able to build off of what they created. But because Sony picked it up and saw this could be our Minecraft. Guys, this could be our next Minecraft. Let's get this thing out there. It caused just a cascading effect that brought us to here. And does the creator of the game have some fault? Yes. there's some fault with him because ultimately he oversaw the project. But at the same time, how many games do we see that actually live up to the hype that actually they create? This one was just so overhyped for such a period of time that it's just caused all kinds of hell. Do I think it's a...
Sorry, go ahead.
Is it a good game? Eh. Is it a good platform for a game? Reminds me of the beginning of Minecraft. Minecraft, like, pre-launch. What'd you do? You punched trees, you built houses, that was it. There wasn't any Ender Dragon, built that up, brought in towns, brought in things, and through modding and tons of things, that game has evolved into a juggernaut. Now, No Man's Sky kind of has that baseline, but it was just so much to be so much more than it actually is. When it came out, people got angry with it, and that's the problem. It's a great building platform if they started adding into that multiplayer seeding, that kind of stuff. That's great, but I'm willing to give it time. I did spend the money on it, and hopefully the updates do come. The big thing is, though, and if they want to do this right, they need to do this in updates, not in DLC.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're doing.
Because if they do it in DLC, that just means that they're going for a money grab.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big sort of kickback to Sony. Because this is one of the things... This was one of the things that was just a case of, I believe the community is at partial fault with this as well. Because they started grabbing onto things and building up, and everybody took it, and it sort of snowballed out of there. And just... Yeah, so there was expectation came high, and some of it was built up, not from Sean Murray, not fully. Because a long time they didn't... people who are, hang on, what do you actually do in this game? I see you get on a planet and bugger off again. That seemed to be, for a long time, what they were showing. There's none of these huge epic space battles they were saying about trading and all this. That just, people got hold of and went, oh, you can do this. Now, yes, there was a press statement listing things that were supposed to be in there compared to what actually was, and it was a big difference. But yeah, I don't believe Sean Murray had it all to blame, even though he could have done more PR probably.
Yeah,
to keep expectations in there, because he turned into like a Peter Molyneux almost. And no, it was Water Punisher, not Iron Brew. But
it's camouflaged.
Yeah. Do you want some good news though?
Do we want good news? Do we not want to end on that bombshell?
We don't want to end on that bombshell. Do you remember a game called Bulletstorm?
Yes.
Did you like it?
It was fun. It was mindless fun.
Well, it's been remastered for 2017, published by Borderlands studio Gearbox Software. So they're going to be porting it over to the next now gen.
Next now, future, past,
next
forward gen.
The gen that's here at the moment. Whichever form of PS4 or Xbox One's about at the time, it's going to be on it.
So everybody should enjoy that. I know I may get it. I don't know.
I'm going to dip in again for that.
Dip into the fun for that one?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm going to dip into the fun for that one because it was fun. It was a laugh. I can't say anything more than that apart from shooting him in the dick. What does that even mean? As a line in the grappling hook to sort of use it for killing people in style. It's not about mindless fun. How can you not enjoy that? Anyone? No?
Bueller?
No. Okay, fair enough. Right then. So that is the news for this week, apart from... because this will lead into shout outs. In 6 weeks' time, 6 Saturdays' time, it is Extra Life 2016. 7? Are you sure it's 7? Do I have to count?
No.
Yeah, 6. There you go. So I was right. You just throw me off, you bugger. But yeah, so in 6 Saturdays' time, it's Extra Life 2016, and you know that I'm part of this as part of a Band of Gamers podcast. I'm playing for Joel Shafinsky's hospital. I shall put the link in the chat now. If you haven't already donated, please go and donate, because, you know, we're playing for sick children in children's hospitals, so they don't have to go through stuff that I have to go through. Because it's not nice and it's not fun. And one less child has to go through that. I'll do what I'm doing this year, which this year is 24 hours of Zen Pinball 2. Every table I beat my high score on that I currently have that I play, extra $2 goes into the pot from my own money. So potential there is quite a lot if I do that, and that's pinball for the full 24 hours. There's going to be no other games. It's just going to be solid that way, and I need your help. Pretty much, I am asking for your help. How often do I ask for help? The people that know me. How often? Exactly. So what I'm asked of people is for tuning in. Just tune in, keep me company. I'm going to have the chat room up on the screen, because I don't normally do that for Pinball Tuesday. I just have the screen to myself. Your donations would make a great deal of help for their children. You know, even if a couple of bucks. But if we do hit goals on there, then I'm going to have a forfeit for myself for the Craig David mask and Bo Selector. You know, $500 an hour of wearing it. 2 hours wearing it if we hit 1,000, and the rest of the stream if we hit $1,500 for this. So I'm going to torture myself, because I know how bad wearing that thing is. After 45 minutes, you get very dehydrated, and you're just like, I need water, please give me some water. I need more water, because that wasn't enough.
That's why he keeps that gigantic bottle of water next to his bed.
Exactly. Now just think about having that rubber mask on for 24 hours. But you can do that to us by helping kids out. Which I know what I would do in that situation. I'd be like, yeah, torture him. He's alright. He'll get over it. So yes, we've got that. So basically, yeah, just and retweeting, getting the message out there. We have tried to get Zen Studios to do that sort of thing. So they're gonna have retweets of it all day for us. And join us and have fun on November the 5th, because it's 7 a.m. November the 5th to November 6th at 7 a.m. So that's 24 hours of pinball. So yeah, so I would love to see you guys there, and love to see you donate, because it'd be all fun and all great. And that's it for the news. So we're done to shout outs and getting the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm. We are.
You got any shout outs, mate?
I would like to give a wonderful thank you to my girlfriend for letting me do the podcast tonight.
Nice applause. Say thank you, all people. Thank you.
So, thank her. Also, for last week, for Chris and Keith for joining me and providing a lark. It was not the traditional show that everybody's probably was used to, but I think it was fun nonetheless. And then just thank you for coming back and giving me a podcast flow, Will.
No, didn't have one last week then, though.
No. It was herding cats.
That's okay. That's okay. We're back. We're back in the mix. So yeah, my shout outs are to a shitload of people. I've got Gina the Short, Vimus, Carl Palmer from Band Gamers Podcast, Willowin, Aravel, Shadow Stalker, Silly Spa, Punisher, Acid Heartburn, Sammy McEwen, who's been on a show with us in previous incarnations of other podcasts, Jenny Lawrence, Holly Bennett, Rob Pearson, Dave Jackson, Nathan Ditton at PlayStation Access as last four. You got 2 people from Insert Coin T-shirts, Tarek Papworth and Lauren, aka Ms. Buttons, and finally Claire at Special Effects. I want to thank every one of them and shouting out for helping make EGX 2016 one of the better ones, if not the best this year, because there was plenty of laughs, there was hanging around with each other, there was hugs aplenty as well, which was nice. Okay, I might get lurgy from it, but there's a price we have to pay for such awesome times. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for helping make EGX brilliant.
You're working on the next one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm working the next one now.
You're working the next one. I gave you one off. Everybody gets one.
Yep.
Everybody gets one. This was your one.
So standing around in queues, getting interviews, not seeing my friends as much as possible.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not a cruel taskmaster. You work one day. If you're going for multiple days, I'm only going to ask you to work one of the days. You can see your friends on the other days.
That's fine. I'll take that.
I'm not a cruel taskmaster, but let's put it this way. I figured you were going to have a bunch of fun, so I worked on your week off. So
switch it around again, because you get to have the fun. I get to do all the stuff like all the PR stuff on Twitter to try and get us more people. It gets bigger, better, faster, and stronger. But yeah, thank you very much to everyone for that. That was brilliant. If you get a chance to go to one of these conventions, mate, do so, because they can be fucking blast.
I plan on it. Hopefully, I will.
Yeah, if we get people spending money on the Patreon to get to us to the point where we don't have to work anymore and just do this, then you can get to go to this sort of stuff.
Harder work. We will be doing a different kind of work.
Yeah. But what's this Patreon about, mate?
Yeah, Patreon is, if you guys haven't heard of it before, we have one now. I set that up as part of everything else. It's basically, if you like what we're doing, you can help donate to us if you feel like it. If you don't, it's not a prerequisite for anything. It's literally just there as kind of a, hi, you like what we're doing, this is a way to support us. And if you feel like if you want to feel like giving something, if not, that's fine. We're not asking for it. This isn't like a life or death situation where we're like, please sir, can I have some more? It's just, if you like what we're doing, it's a way to help. It's a way to get out. We're probably going to be looking at adding things in the future to do stuff with it. But as it stands right now, I mean, the first goal is $10 a month, just as a patron goal, and that basically what that covers is the server costs to have the podcast put on iTunes and all the other things. That's about, that's 1 year subscription to SoundCloud so that I can upload the podcast and have it up there. That's all it is. It's just maintenance costs. So I think it's a relatively, that's kind of the goal, and the big thing, and something as the person who created it and whose tax ID number the pod is underneath, because I will have to end up claiming this on taxes if it comes to it. I will be as transparent as possible with everything that we do with it. That's the big thing, and this is one thing I've always strived for, that if people want to support us in any way, we will be as transparent as possible about the way you are helping us out. We want you to know where everything's going towards, if you're being that nice enough of a person.
Yeah, and speaking of helping us out, we are looking for writers when the website gets going fully. If you go to contact Ben at tgwpi.com, he will give you a list of what we're looking for and what we're possibly wanting to give you, to hopefully give you in return.
You can also email at podcast@tgwpi.com, Will at tgwpi.com, or James@tgwpi.com. Get in touch with any one of us, or even just like link in the chat, DM us, whatever you need to do. Send out smoke signals. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, because as you can see, we've got our Facebook, we've got our Instagrams, we've got our Twitches, we've got our Twitter on the screen. You can also contact us. I mean, you can contact me, Lard Teammaker across the board here on Twitter, Facebook. You know, you've got me on PSN, you've got me on XBL, you've got me PSN_Lard Teammaker on Steam. So there are ways to catch us. And James, for yourself?
I'm there. Pretty much all of those things you see in the upper left-hand corners where you can find me. When I stream, I'm on here. When I do YouTube videos, I'm on this channel. I pretty much, if I'm gonna tweet too, I'm gonna tweet using our Twitter. I have all personal stuff, and it's linked to that. It's Spike SP2579 or Spike2579. You can find me on them, but odds are the easiest way to get in contact to them is all these. My email's tied to pretty much 90% of it anyway, so I'm gonna see it pop up.
See it?
If you're wondering if Will gets a DM, does James notice? Yes, he does. James knows. I'm Big Brother. I know what happens.
Yes, he does. It's like, well, did you see this? And I'm like, I'm sitting on the shitter. It's like,
odds are that's what I'm shitting too. I'm sitting too. The game won't play itself. Most of our ideas come from the shitter.
And on that note, we're going to say goodbye because that, I believe, is it.
Yeah, that's a great way to end it there.
Thanks to everybody who joined us tonight. You know, if you haven't joined us, we'll be on YouTube and we'll be on the audio platforms for you to actually catch up with it. Otherwise, but I want to thank everyone for joining us. You're all awesome. Yeah, thank you for staying up late with us if you're in the UK, because it's like 1:20 in the morning. And it's time to say goodbye. We'll catch you next week.
Bye-bye.